G'day folks, Jim here from FX Charts, Monday the 24th of February. Thanks for tuning in. Well, it was a bit of a mixed session for the dollar on Friday. The euro was a little bit higher, that was supported by some soft US data. Cable was a bit heavy. Dollar yen tried to make a little bit of a move to the upside. It failed at its highs and came back to more sustainable levels. And the Aussie and the Kiwi both look a little bit heavy as well. So we're going to have a look at the charts. Start with the euro here. Now, as you can see, it had a bit of a spike up. That was after the soft housing data on Friday from the States. Since when it's done absolutely nothing. So as long as it stays capped up here by this 137.70 area, I think today we're probably likely just to see more range trading. We've got there's a little bit of data out today. The most important aspect being the European CPI data. Now, if that comes in at a very weak reading, we may see that the market's going to start thinking that the ECB may ease at its next meeting on March the 6th. If the Eurozone looks as though it's heading towards its deflationary cycle, then I think that's possibly going to be the case. So look out for a weak number today. I think a negative minus 0.4 is expected on a monthly basis, but plus about 0.8 on an annualized basis. Now, if we go above 137.70, then I think it's a fairly quick route to 138. But if we go and look at the weekly charts, we're coming up, this is about 138.30 here. Now, we've got this 61.8% FIBO retracement of the whole this move down here. We haven't really managed to overcome that yet. That's about 138.20. And just above that is the long-term downtrend line, which that's about 138.30, and then of course we've got this high here, which is 138.92. Now above there, there's nothing that goes back until August 2011. That's at 142.5 or so, 142.65, I think it was from me. So a break of 138.30.40 will see us head quite swiftly high. Now that ties in, if I just show you the dollar index, if I can find that. Here's a weekly chart of the dollar index. Now going back here to May 2011, we're sitting right on long-term trend support here at about 78, 85.90. Now if that were to go, we're currently at 80 and a quarter. So at the moment it's holding, but if that goes, that we've got the 200 week moving average here, that's at where is that, 79.94. So if that goes, there's not an awful lot to hold the the dollar index up. We've got the next support down around here at 79.65, and then down here we're heading down towards this FIBO level at 78.70. So keep an eye on the dollar index, because if this 79.90 level does go, then I think the euro is probably heading a fair bit higher. Until then, while the support holds, don't get too excited about it. I don't think the upside resistance for the dollar index is about 80.47, which I think is where the 100-day moving average is. But we're not heading there today, I don't think. So yeah, back to the euro. And one other thing that I should point out here, I mentioned this before, but this monthly Ichimoku chart, the euros appears to be having a bit of trouble at the top of the cloud here, breaking back into it. So as long as that maintains its resistance and the dollar index retains its support, we could yet see the euro roll over. But I think it's something to keep an eye on. If we do go above 138.30.40, then I think we are headed high. In the meantime, for today, I think use 137, 138 as a guide. Really, I can't see it going above there. I'd be somewhat surprised if we really break above 137 today. The hourlies aren't really showing any positive. This is 4 hourlies, I beg your pardon, not showing any positive momentum. So I think probably another day's range trading. Moving on to dollar yen, pretty much the same. I think that's stuck between 102, 103. Did get up to 102.80 on Friday, 102.83. But that's been a bit problematic up there for the last few attempts. So there's nothing out of Japan particularly today. And it looks to me as though we might be in for a bit more of the same. The dailies look as though we are trying to head a little bit higher, but there's going to be some decent resistance up above 103. We've got this 50% retracement of the whole move down at 103.10, and then there's this minor descending trend resistance as well. And if we go and look at the yen Ichimoku, let me just try and get that up. The weeklies are showing us that the dollar's been stuck within the band of the Tenkan and the Kijun for the last few weeks, and the top side there is also at 103, just above 103. The base is at 101. We're not going to go down there anytime soon, but I think 103, 103.20 is going to cap the top side, and I'd be very doubtful of going much under 102 today. Cable, well, cable was all over the place on Friday. Got up to, had a squeeze up to 167.25, and then it fell sharply to 166.10, and since then has done very little. The overall trend is still corrective of the recent move higher, and I think that's probably likely to continue. Now, there's good support down here at 166.05, which is the FIBO support. If we go below that, then we're probably heading back to sort of 165.5 or so, but I don't really see that today. And I think another day stuck between sort of 166 and 166.60-70. The 100 and the 200 hour moving averages are crossing over at about 166.70. That's possibly going to provide some resistance on the day. Dollar Swiss, that looks heavy, but it's finding decent support down around here at this sort of 88.5 level. There's going to be some decent sized stops underneath there though. And that could quickly take us back to 88, the figure or so. And as long as the euro stays bid, I guess dollar Swiss will stay fairly heavy. The indicators are suggesting we've got more downside ahead of us. Now, if we go under this level here, this 88 figure, really we're approaching levels not really seen for quite a few years. So it's an important level down here, and this FIBO support down around here isn't seen till around 85.15 or so. There's trend support where if this channel were to provide support to down around 86.60, but the potential for a move to the downside in the dollar does look quite steep, and that once again ties in with the dollar index that I just showed you. Now the Aussie and the Kiwi, they both look pretty heavy. They both look as though they're forming a sort of a rounding top formation. This is a 1 hour Aussie chart, and the 1 hour Kiwi chart looks pretty much the same, as you can see. Going back to the Aussie, we are sitting on some support here to around 89.75. If that breaks, then we're probably headed back here towards 89.20, and below there down to about, below 89 the figure, and 88.60 or so. So I don't think we're going to do that yet. It looks to me as though it's a sort of slow, protracted sideways move. On the top side, 90 the figures where the 100 and 200 have crossed, the 100 200 hour moving averages, that is, and further out, as you can see, 90.75 is proved quite substantial resistance, and we're not going to see that today. But if we were to break it, then I think we get quite a sharp move higher. There's going to be some decent sized stops above there, but for the time being, it just looks like a slow drift lower. And much the same for the Kiwi. We're sitting above the FIBO support here at 82.60. A break would take us down to last week's low, 82.40, and then we're heading back down towards 82.20, 82 the figure. Don't really see that today. I think 82 to 83 covers it for the time being, but it looks increasingly as though we should be setting up a rally. So that's really about it today, folks. There's a little bit out, as I say, there's the EU CPI. We've also got the German IFO, and then later there's some regional Fed numbers coming out of the States, which might push it out a bit. A couple of there's manufacturing index from, I think it's Dallas. And there's also the state services PMI, I think. So that's about it for the moment, though. So have a very good day's trading, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Cheers.